Today on Podcast Them Down, the Area 51 snack bar sucks. Podcast them down. All right. Oh, I played the wrong intro. I'm Tim Regan from all those bands. And this is Matt and Mike, and they're from some bands. Well, not Matt, but...
Could be.
He's our consultant.
Maybe I'll audition to be a singer of a certain band. You don't know.
Guys, I need to refer to my notes real quick. Sorry. one moment.
Okay, wait.
It's a good show to watch the video already. It's just already off the rails.
I just tried Mike for doing nothing but visual gags on this audio medium.
Well,
that's what, I'm trying to attract people to the YouTube.
Yeah, you should be watching this.
Yeah.
All right, well, since the intro is a train wreck, let me do the real intro.
Down.
I'm Tim Regan from American fucking Day. Doug gave me a complex about it. American power metal band, Burning Shadows, Fade to Black Metallica tribute, Dual-Violin folk metal band ISENMOR, and recently vacated graves True Zombie Metal. Make sure you like and subscribe and donate and Patreon and like us and share us and all that shit.
Validate us.
Yes. We need imaginary internet points. And we're on Reddit now. Reddit/r/podcast them down.
Oh,
and,
look at that.
Maybe the anonymous Podcast Them Down meme maker will start making some more memes.
Maybe, but you need to join the subreddit. Yeah,
to find out.
Give the anonymous meme maker an audience.
Yeah, we have like the Saxon Shore meme that got absolutely no likes.
I must have missed it. At least it didn't get downvoted.
That's true. I'm gonna go downvoted actually.
There are 0 comments on any of our posts here.
I find that unsurprising. It's called the silent majority, Mike. All right. So previously, we talked about our new favorite avant-garde jazz band, Clowncore, and their album Van. So we need to go back in time to a previous release of theirs entitled Toilet. So Toilet is another visual album. Is that what they called it?
Visual album. Just like this is apparently, or at least in Mike's mind, a visual podcast. This visual album clocks in at a whopping 13 minutes and 15 seconds. It has 9 tracks. They are named Hell, Witch Pussy, Toilet, Google Your Own Death, Scheduled Diarrhea, Truth and Life, The Area 51 Snack Bar Sucks, Google Your Own Leaked Nudes, and Buy This Album. My favorite is obviously Scheduled Diarrhea. And before I listed all the tags that they put in the description, so I will do this again. Tags: jazz, rock, non-music, children's, experimental, grindcore, jazz rock, experimental rock, electronics, cyber grind, there it is again, drum step, avant-garde jazz, Zolo, avant-garde metal, noisecore, minivan, Toilet, and Nevada. All solid tags.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, so we spoke at length about Clowncore before, so if you haven't heard the other episode, go look up the previous episode. It should be obviously named.
Stop wasting our goddamn time with your questions.
That's right. Why? I can't help but notice you're treating the audience as hostile today.
I mean, these assholes should have watched this video already.
We don't know that they didn't.
Do your
I'm
homework.
assuming they didn't.
Do your homework. Come on. Educate yourself.
All right. So for the uneducated, clowncore is two guys, a drummer and a saxophonist, and they're both keyboardists, and they both play the bicycle horn, and they both do the vocals. I almost said sing, but that's not really accurate.
No.
And
also use their penises to play. That's also very important.
Oh yeah, that comes up.
They're multi-limb, multi-appendage instrumentalists.
So they release video albums, basically. So it's a YouTube video during which they perform the entire album. So kind of like what Metallica did with Hardwired. They said, we have mountains of money that are in danger of falling over, so let's hire everyone to make music videos for us. So for Hardwired, you can watch the entire album as music videos. That's not quite what this is. This is one long video that's the album.
Yeah, I doubt these guys have so much money they don't know what to do. I could be wrong, but that's just my guess.
So,
yeah, why don't you lead into this?
I was just gonna dive right in, and we're gonna do what we did last time. It's basically we're gonna go through the entire visual album.
Yep.
Entitled "Toilet" by Clowncore, clowncore.bandcamp.com, clowncore.computer is their official website. Seriously. And you can watch the video there.
And you should watch it if you don't want spoilers.
Yes, because this whole thing is spoilers. If you didn't want spoilers, you should not have listened to this episode of Podcast Them Down.
Or actually pretty much any episode of Podcast Them Down.
That's right.
Come to think of it.
All right. Do not unsubscribe, please. Please don't unsubscribe. Okay, so Toilet opens with VCR static. Mm-hmm. Once again, so it's like someone hit play on a VCR. And shows a SoCal branded porta potty, which appears to be one of those handicapped accessible sized ones.
It's large. It's not small.
Right, it's not your standard size one, and we'll find out why in a second. And it appears to be in an abandoned mall's parking lot. So, then the next shot, seconds later, they cut to inside. So the two members of Clowncore are inside the porta potty. The drummer is sitting on the potty part with his two-piece kit and a keyboard to his left. So it's like kind of on the shelf. He does not have the ride bell that was taped to the snare in Van. So yeah, no ride bell. He does have the bike horn, and this time it's fastened to the hi-hat stand above the hi-hat. And what little room is left inside this porta potty is taken up by the saxophonist, and he has the keyboard in front of him and the saxophone, and he has a beat up vocal mic in front of him and a mic for the saxophone and a bike horn fastened to this mic stand construction. So as in Van, they have mic'd everything.
Yep.
It's unclear whether the audio you hear is what was performed inside the porta potty. But so he has a SM58 taped to the wall, pointing at the snare, and a pencil condenser taped to the toilet paper dispenser. And I noticed that the toilet paper is installed the wrong way.
That is very true. I did notice that too. I like that little touch.
So then another camera angle later reveals there's also a laptop in the porta potty with them. next to the drummer,
yes.
and the drummer has a vocal mic. So, I didn't count the cameras this time. There's at least 4. They're in the top corners in like around the door. There's 3 around the door. And then probably another one. All right, so
Yes.
like clearly, so this came out before Van, and it's clearly where they developed the formula for Van.
I also think that this is where the monikers right clown and left clown come from, because one is on the left and one is on the right.
Oh, that could be.
Rather, in the Van, there's front seat clown and back seat clown. So I think this is where that comes from.
That makes sense.
Musically, I feel like this is a little bit more chaotic than Van. In Van, they very much effortlessly switch between like grind and jazz. I feel like there's a lot more of like going from grind to jazz in one song, and it happens fairly frequently. And then there are songs like, I can't remember, one where it's just like sped up and it's like just pure noise. There's a lot more I would say extremes. I think.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, there's a lot. they I don't want to say they reined it in for Van, but Van is
there's a bit
cohesive
more finesse.
Isn't the right word.
Well, I feel like many second outings. Now we can debate whether or not this is the second, or this is definitely the first Clowncore visual album. They did have a 2010 release, but I haven't listened to that yet. But
I haven't either.
think, both of these, I think this is like really 2018 and the other one is really 2020. I think this one is more experimental with the format, and just trying to play around with what they can do. I actually like the energy on this one. I mean, I enjoy Van, but there's some like chaotic musical anarchist in me that almost likes this album more than Van.
I think I would have a tough time choosing between the two. I mean, they definitely got a style.
Yeah.
But I think, Tim, to put a word to how Van feels extremely deliberate, I would say. Like, and Toilet feels a little bit more stream of conscious.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I buy that.
Yeah. While at the same time, they clearly had to sit down and come up with a lot of this, like no matter what. But yeah, it's really interesting how despite more or less kind of iterating on the same formula, it does feel pretty different. Schedule.
Yeah.
No, go. No, Schedule Diarrhea is the track that's just like sped up nonsense.
Oh, we'll get there. All right. So it pretty much starts the same way as the other album. Starts with a synth thing, and then it just kind of goes from there. But then halfway through Witch Pussy, they just stop. There's like an awkward silence. And then a single fart note is played. And then they continue.
Really enjoyed that.
I did too. I like that.
The lyrics too are like, they're not conspiratorial. They're just poop themed, and they're just very. If you were a metal band that took shitting really seriously, I guess these are the kind of lyrics that you would write.
It does take place in a porta potty, so
yeah, it's really hard to argue with the lyrical content.
I mean, they stay on theme throughout almost the entire album.
So,
yes.
So similar to Van, there are exterior shots during which the music is muffled, but the exterior shots on Toilet reveal that the porta potty is moving, is like in different locations,
like in a construction site. That it's like it's in somebody's yard.
Eventually, it's in space. For quite a while. So then during the song Toilet, the saxophonist plays a note with his wiener.
Yes.
Which going back to clowncore.computer, it's now sold out, but you could also get a t-shirt of that if you wished.
So then, moving right along in Google Your Own Death. So like the parts I'm glossing over is just them playing in the porta potty. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. In Google Your Own Death, the porta potty is suddenly in space. They did an effect to make it look darker inside.
Yeah, I really like that, like, extra touch.
Yep. And then more flashing images. So here we go. I got all of them, just like last time. All right. So starts with looking upwards in a city street, then a jet launching a missile, a slice of pizza, a blown up or burned out school bus, a puppy, an A-bomb explosion, a bunch of nuns, an aerial shot of the suburbs, a pixelated photo of a street with identical houses down it, an astronaut on the moon, Lunchables, a soldier with an M60, what appears to be a tornado-damaged neighborhood, a black and white photo of, I'm pretty sure this is Ernest Shackleton's crew leaving the Endurance as it got crushed in the ice during the failed transit Antarctic voyage. Followed that up with an Arby's, and then gridlock traffic, a close-up image of a hot dog with a perfect squiggle of mustard on it, New York City with World Trade 1, the new tower.
Okay.
A plumber who kind of looks like Henry Rollins, sunset in the American Southwest, kind of like wherever all the Coyote and Roadrunner part of the desert takes place with all the rock formations. And then a close-up of the McDonald's cheeseburger that gets reused in Van. I skipped one. Asian factory workers standing in ranks. That's what it appears to be. Brendan Fraser again. A veteran's cemetery. It might be Arlington. I'm not positive. A pixelated photo of a kid with his elbow on a stack of books. A photo of the crashed Asiana Airlines flight on July 6, 2013. The airline registration number is HL7742, and it crashed after takeoff in San Francisco. Then soldiers marching. I wrote not American. I couldn't identify where they were from, but they were not American soldiers. A steak, uncooked, very close up. Tanks, riot police with someone on the ground. Another puppy, obviously, and then another A-bomb. So that is the sequence of images. As that song ends and Scheduled Diarrhea starts, they're still in space, but obviously the drummer vomits.
Over and over again.
Yep, and they have an image of the saxophonist smiling, but it's like a photo that they distorted to make him smile.
Yeah, like at some point it feels like they run out of footage and they're like, all right, let's just put together
so I wrote there's a lot of hiccuping video, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so then suddenly the porta potty is in a construction area.
We've returned to Earth, clearly.
Yep, and a construction worker hears the noise and decides to try to enter the porta potty anyway. And then after some VCR static, the worker is now using the porta potty.
Oh no!
While the clowns are like gargoyle crouched next to him, just looking at him.
This might be my favorite part of the video.
Yeah, because he's just looking at them and they're looking at him, and then it just stops. Like it doesn't. Nothing surprising or silly happens. It just is like awkward staring. Over.
All right, so after that, the song picks up again, and they're back in space. And then suddenly, they're in a field with mountains in the background as the song Truth and Life starts. And then the explosions begin. For whatever reason, they explode the porta potty in various locations.
Yeah, Clowncore is basically murdered like dozens of times throughout the course of this.
60 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a bunch of gangsters or whatever, you know, like 1940s gangsters shoot machine guns at the porta potty. A plane drops hot dogs like bombs into the porta potty. A pickup truck drives into it repeatedly. There's a submarine launched chicken drumstick missile that blows it up.
I really liked the variety of things that were blowing up.
All right, so after it's blown up over and over and over and over again, there's just a black screen with clown faces. So my notes get kind of hectic at this point. So
I wonder why.
Well, a lot goes on, and by a lot I mean a little.
Yes.
When did the pizza lyrics start?
I don't.
The lyrics. It's like, dude, don't you turn my pizza inside out? Calzones will not be tolerated, and it's just
That's right. All right, so how about I just read you all of my fragmented notes until we get to something. All right, here we go. Cut to clown faces binary screen, like a screen full of binary numbers on it. The potty is back in space over a spinning Earth. Then there's a cascade of clown faces, and then there's a rehash of stuff before. Then obviously the porta potty's on the moon. Then there's more explosions, more hot dog bombs, more pickups running into it, more machine guns, more drumsticks, the chicken drumsticks, more clown faces. And then the Area 51 snack bar sucks starts, and it has this. You'll remember this, just from this. So it has their faces in the top right corner of the
screen, almost like a watermark.
Right. Yes, exactly. And then it's just bike horns. With two red pixels flashing.
Oh yeah, that was bizarre.
And so it does that for a while.
Now I want to dispute that it's 2 pixels because it starts as 2 pixels, but there's clearly a third pixel at some point.
Right, and then there's it flashes a picture of Al Roker, I believe, and then Bill Clinton.
It's not a picture of Al Roker, is it?
Oh, no. There's a picture of Al Roker, and then a picture of Bill Clinton, and then there's some footage from the Today Show in Rockefeller Center.
But this takes place during Google Your Own leaked nudes.
Yes, correct. and it slowly zooms in on a video of Al Roker with a weird expression on his face.
It looks like he zoned out. That's what it looks like. It's like,
and it doesn't. Like, I don't think they're video geniuses. I think this is because the people behind them are still moving. I don't know what's going on.
That's a good way to describe this. I mean, like, it's just like it's much more hectic than
it's pure chaos.
And we're not even we're getting towards the end. I mean, there's a very long clip of the Today Show.
Yeah,
with them just zooming in on Al Roker, and then suddenly they're on a porch at night outside of some house, and it's like scanning around, kind of like, you know, looking this way and that into the darkness. And then finally it zooms in on the two clowns emerging from the darkness. Like, they've been watching you the whole time. And then obviously it ends with a goofy song with like an old Windows screensaver that just says "Give us money" bouncing around the screen.
Yeah,
and it bounces off in insane angles. Like none of it lines up.
Yeah, it's not a perfect reflection of the incident.
Yeah, it
angle.
has really interesting physics.
And then at the very end, there's a few seconds of grind for no reason. Yeah, so I feel like there's a lot less to unpack in this one.
Yeah, like it's a little bit more like so random. Like, ooh.
I think they got it. I like the Van video better.
Yes, I agree.
And I believe, you know, even though we were talking earlier musically about it's hard to pick the music between these two albums, I actually think in terms of a visual album, I feel like the concept of Van is much stronger.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like the things you could do in the toilet, although I do really like the construction worker, but like, you know, even by the third song, they've had to bring it into space. They've had to, you know, have submarine launched cruise chicken wings fired at it, you know. So I feel like the premise of this video was not quite as strong as Van.
Well, still being pretty, it's very entertaining.
I mean, like if there were only two videos on YouTube, this and Van, I would still go to YouTube every day.
Right.
Like I can say that definitively.
Yeah, and like, you know, musicianship is still extremely strong, right? Yeah. Like they're still ridiculous. I don't feel like they got appreciably better chops wise between Toilet and Van. They're just as good. It's just it's more chaotic. That's really the big difference, I think.
I think it's really just a question of like editorial choice, right? This is a much more hey, what if we did this? It would be hilarious if we did this. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, we could do this too. Whereas the second outing of Van is much more reserved, much more, I think, editorially disciplined. I mean, it seems inappropriate to say, but somehow more mature.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, clearly this is a comedic band, right? Like they're looking to get a laugh out of you.
Where do you get that impression?
I don't know. Just, you know what? You're right.
Someone who can play a synthesizer with his penis, I believe, is nothing but serious. But that's like, as serious as you fucking get.
Well, all right, like with comedy, right? Like you could sit there and just make joke after joke after joke, but there's an efficacy in knowing when not to do that, and I feel like they figured out that the importance of subtle as this concept gets, they figured it out more for Van. Right?
I
talking
agree,
about,
but it's still worth the watch.
Absolutely.
I like how we're defending the artistic maturity of the pooping on the keyboard video.
Well, it's like so. Actually, this is kind of an interesting line of thought, right? Van ranges from like when you first watch that video, your response is like, "What the fuck am I watching? Like what is going to happen?" So you see the van driving down the street, and it's like you're scanning. It's like, okay, there's clowns in the van, and they zoom into the van. It's like clowns have instruments. There's a guy in a ski mask. Okay, and then they start playing, and you're like, what's and then they just start going nuts with Toilet. It's like Toilet, okay, clowns, instruments. It's like, all right, okay, they're gonna. There's more like you get your blast of absurdity in Toilet. In Van, it's just like, where's this going? What? Huh? What? It's they drag you along as hard as they can.
You're absolutely right. They slow play you, right? They wanna do a little toying with you before you actually realize that all of a sudden you're in this horrible van. You're locked in this van with two insane clowns and a gentleman in a ski mask and a salacious grin. And I think it's that slow build. The premise of Toilet is immediately apparent.
Right.
And it's only the absurdity. Like, what's absurd about Toilet is the initial premise, which they do let breathe. I mean, it's the first two songs, right? But then they like get gimmick. They almost don't believe their own gimmick, and that's why they give us all that insanity. Whereas in Van, they're just like, nah, it's pretty much a van, though.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like with Van, you're definitely a little bit more flexible. Like, I mean, I guess, okay, I'm going to spitball creative ideas. They maybe could have played in different toilets. That would have been something that, it still continued on with the Toilet theme as opposed to like the visual insanity. With Van, it's like, they're driving around. You can basically have them do anything so long as they got there via the van. So it's a more flexible concept. This feels ridiculous, hashing out the artistic differences between these two. But it is interesting because Van definitely feels more effective as a video. Like, it's more amusing.
I can't wait for like music students 300 years from now to be like breaking down the scene in which they run into the light pole and the giant penis airbag comes out. That's going to be like a doctoral thesis. That's going to be like part of the canon. And I can't wait. I envy those future humans living on their crisply burned, waterless world because they will know a joy that I will never know.
So, okay, this conversation, I showed Clowncore to my wife. And
what are you doing?
I don't know. What was I thinking?
Well, the
that
good
makes
news
one
is
of
Mike's
us.
Mike's going to be a lot more available for new episodes of podcasts.
So, okay, so she found it. So we're watching the video, and Van is safe for work until about like 2.5 minutes in or something like that, or somewhere in
someone
there.
who made the mistake of watching Van at work, I can tell you it is not at all.
No,
And there was a whole bunch of whoa.
You can watch the first bit of it without it being like overtly gross.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
and I was answering her email, and then I looked to my right, and then I was like, time to type up a new resume.
Well, so the instant they got to in Van, the penis bass playing scene, very subtly done, as we were discussing just a moment ago. Much more subtle than Toilet. My wife was instantly like, ugh. And then, I think the next scene that's like overtly gross is the pooping on the keyboard scene. And at this point, she just got disgusted. She's like, why did they do that? Like I was interested without that. So why did they do that? And I think that's an interesting question, right?
I actually think the pooping on the keyboard is grosser. Because one, like the penis bass is like a gag payoff, right? It's like a mystery. And then later you discover, but it's like a quick take. Like you're just like, what? But the problem with the poop for me is the poop lingers. It's just like in the shot for quite a while.
They zoom in on it a few times,
and but
they
that
want you to know it's there.
That didn't bother me as much as the wide shots. Like the wide shots were the problem because it's like, nah, they did this.
Yeah. So my wife Jenny is just like, I found this interesting without the gross out shit. So why is the gross out shit there? And I was trying to explain it to her, and then I realized I don't really have a good lockdown on that explanation. So like, part of it is just to filter out, I think, people that think it's gross. So it's like it like locks you in obscurity to do that sort of shit. And it's somewhat desirable, I think.
Yeah.
At least to musicians like clowncore, I don't think they're clearly good enough that they could really be doing lots and lots of musical shit wherever they wanted to.
Well, I mean, with the danger of seriously offending at least two of my co-hosts. Like, is this an RVG? Like, is this a fun side? Why you look so angry? Is this a fun but not necessarily entirely serious side project kind of deal?
I don't understand what you're talking about.
I mean, yeah, right?
No, I do. I think clowncore is a side project that they just do for fun. Though it looks a little bit like they're starting to realize the appeal, so they're starting to lean into it a little harder.
And like, let's follow the logic that knower, at least half of knower is, what is it? Right clown.
Yeah.
Is there something sad, or at least something like that gnaws at your soul at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep? The fact that your weird, funky side project was, and always shall be your real legacy, rather than your like serious work.
I mean,
right?
that's what Guar was.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Like those guys had to be Guar because that's what got attention. The insanity, the over the top sort of theatrical nature, and so is clowncore ultimately a tragedy?
Whoa.
This is heavy, man. I feel, at least at this point, it seems like they're having too much fun with it.
That's
right?
true. Okay.
Like, and maybe by doing this sort of thing, you intentionally relegate it to not being your most successful shit. Like,
okay.
Guar was so theatrical on stage. Like, you attract a little bit more mainstream of a person because it's gross and everything, but it's such a spectacle. But with clowncore, as it being something purely digital, as it being mostly on Bandcamp, as it being mostly on YouTube, you're definitely, you have to seek it out, right? Like, you can't just no, I guess you can't really stumble into a Guar show either. But like, you can leave a clowncore experience with no cost to you. If you go to a Guar show, right, you have to pay for it. You have to get there. You have to wear. You will clearly be advised ahead of time that you should not wear anything that you like. You know,
you get covered in fluids.
Yes.
And I mean, the core guys did like appear on the Jerry Springer show. I mean, so it's not like they were entirely innocent in the popularity of their band.
But I don't think they were. I don't think they wanted it to not be like. I think once they realized it was popular, they're like, "Shit, let's do it."
But I mean, I guess the question is like, is that every band's dilemma, right? Like, do you want to be 70 and playing "Don't Stop Believin'" for the 70,000th time, or is that the price for like being a household name, being a band that makes it? Like is it kind of like the selling out versus making it sort of dilemma that bands have, right?
That is a good question, and perhaps we will find out on RVG's next release, Zombie Boat. So, thank
Holy
you for...
shit! I'm putting $1,000 in that Kickstarter as soon as you make it.
All right, just 49,000 to go. All right. This was a good discussion.
It got headier than any discussion on Cloudcore deserves. Cloudcore deserves to get.
I agree. Or do I? I don't know. Find out on the special edition DVD release in the bonus materials of Zombie Boat. Thanks for listening. Do all that shit. Click all the links, every single one, down below. We'll see you next time.
I call Stenner a zombie.
Guys, sorry. Let me check my notes.
It's still
again.
going.
Wait. I'm sorry.
Can we hold on a second because I have to take a scheduled diarrhea.
It's these notes. I'm sorry. It's not this. This is totally different.
You had the wrong.
Damn it.
You had the wrong teeny tiny notes.
Where's my clown nose? Clown core.
I like I was going back to that well.
Yeah.
Damn it.
This is all I can do.
Wait, hold on. You're not recording it, right?
I am recording.
Good.
And streaming. Do I need to turn it off so no one can hear it?
This is very important.
Didn't the episode end with him having his clown nose? So
That's
this
perfect.
episode should begin with him with Mike and his clown nose.
This is the closest thing I could think of that's circular.